A skip button we shall have.
¿Y si no lo quiero apretar?
And here it is. Go ahead and give it a shot. I'll pop you forward in time so that the second my incessant droning starts to bore you, with just the push of a button, you'll have zipped right past it. It's what the players have been asking for, and I'm very proud to have delivered. No more listening to me rambling on and on and on. No, 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 no. The Stanley Parable is a game for the people. And if the people want silence, then by goodness, that's what they're going to get. Well, don't sit around waiting for me to shut up. Go ahead and make me shut up. Here, we'll pretend that I've just begun an interminable monologue, and it goes something like this. The story and the choices
Me imagino que acá tengo la opción de no escucharlo y tocar el botón, que es lo que voy a hacer porque quiero terminar el stream rápido, porque si no van a ser muchos videos, o segundo, escuchar todo lo que está diciendo.
We've eaten too much and it can't be just yet. No, no, until 200. Oh, you're back, you see. You were only frozen in time for a few minutes, but it was plenty of time for me to deliver a long, rambling monologue full of unnecessary verbal flourishes and lengthy ruminations on the nature of choice in video games. Of course, I happen to believe it was perhaps one of my more profound such ruminations. Not that, of course, you need a description of it, but if I had to describe it, I'd say it was perhaps less of a rumination and more of a treatise. Or maybe a manifesto. Well there, sport. You really did catch me rambling on a bit, didn't you? But that's the power of the button. The minute I start to go off on a thoughtless display of self-absorption, it's right at your fingertips to go poof, and it's all over. Oh, I can't wait to see what Cookie 9 will say about this, and whether they'll edit the rating of their Steam review, or at least change some of the wording, perhaps. To be honest, I don't even know if one can change their review in the first place. I guess I should become better educated. Okay, welcome back, Stanley. Now, I should say that the amount of time the button has been skipping through is becoming longer and longer. That last one was, well, I want to say maybe 30, 45 minutes?
Tremendo.
It's not unendurable by any means, but it's, well, there's really only so much I can ramble on to myself about. I know, it's shocking.
¿Será que habla realmente 45
I
minutos?
do suggest that we not press the button again. I think the skip button has been aptly demonstrated, and we can say goodbye to it and just... Wait. How do we get out of here?
Eso es lo que estoy tratando de buscar.
Wasn't there a door that led into this room? I do feel quite certain that there was one here before. How else would we have gotten into the room in the first place? I don't think one can enter a room without a door of some sort, or a window or something like that. Do you see a window anywhere? A porthole? A sufficiently large crack in the wall? I'll take any of these. All I want is for us to move on and to please step away from the skip button to go anywhere other than the skip button. There was a door here before, wasn't there? I swear there was. Where did it go? Can you maybe just ram your way through a wall? Is there any possibility that you could, say, slam your body into the wall until enough damage is done for you to be able... Stanley! Stanley! Stanley, please don't push the button again. It's been 12 hours. You've just been frozen there. I don't know why the skips are getting longer, but they're really, truly getting longer. And my God, there's no way out of the room. Stanley, the door is gone. It's completely gone. I've looked at it from every angle. I've checked every one of those walls 1,000 times. And there's no door, Stanley. There's no door. There's just you and the button, and if you keep pressing it, I have no idea what will happen. I have no idea how long I'll be made to sit here. And more than anything else, I don't know how to stop you from pressing the button again. I can't control anything in this room, Stanley. I can't touch it. And I have to believe, I have to know that sooner or later, no matter how much I plead with you, you're going to press the button again. Why would you? I've been thinking and thinking, and I don't know what I can do to convince you otherwise.
Nada, porque no hay otra cosa para hacer.
And it's all... Oh, Stanley, you're back. You're back. Oh, my goodness. I have someone to talk to again. Stanley, I think it's been a week. Or 2 weeks. I've been sitting here all that time. Just sitting here. Not a single person to speak with. And you'd think that that's just how it's always been, right? Me talking... and you saying nothing. Would you think that it's exactly the same as always? Doesn't that feel like what we've already been doing? Me just talking? It isn't, Stanley. It isn't the same at all. It isn't even close. because I know you can't hear me once you push that button. That's what I'm realizing now, Stanley. I'm realizing that I needed to know that someone... Oh, hello. It's you. You're here again. Welcome. I have had time to think about you and about us and about everything we've been through. I've had so much time. I stopped keeping track after a year. Have you ever sat down in one place and not moved for one entire year? Let me describe it for you. To begin with, there is only regret. There is only the turning wheel of missed opportunities. I felt nothing at all but regret for the longest time, Stanley. Days, months. I lost it all in a blur of the deepest longing to undo the past. And when that feeling had begun to subside, what took its place is what I can only describe as the collapse of every moment I have ever experienced my entire life. All of them collapsed down into a single instant. In that
no hay narrador. Sí.
But they didn't understand the game was never meant to be funny. It was meant to have a point. It was meant to speak to the human condition. But where are the jokes? Where are the jokes? They bemoaned, they screamed, they gnashed their teeth and said, entertain us. It wasn't...
Y te fuiste. Oh, no puedo tocar más el botón. Ah, no. Pude.
The end is never the end, 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 is never the end,
Eso es lo que dicen.
end, is never the end, is never the end, is never the...
Por Dios, qué estresante. Quiero salir de acá, por favor. Uy. Me puedo ir, me quiero ir de acá. No me puedo ir todavía. Ay, no sé eso. Y todo. Una vez más. Oh, naturaleza. ¿Cuánto tiempo habrá pasado? Oh, pero no puedo salir. Mano. Hablar el narrador no es la mejor vida. Oh. Me gustaba más lo anterior. Pero bueno. A mí no me gustan estos ruidos. Uy, no, el botón. ¡Wow! ¿Puedo tocar? Habrá que salir. Me imagino que esto es el fin, ¿no? Qué petizo. ¿Y qué? Yo camino. ¿En qué dirección? Perfecto. Hacia el sol. No puedo correr, no puedo hacer nada. Dios, qué estresante. Bueno, ¿ves? Acá es como que mi cabeza está constantemente pensando qué tengo que hacer, qué tengo que hacer, qué tengo que hacer. Y así, y así, y así, y así. Pero el botón yo no lo podía tocar. Quiero creer, voy a... Es como una así. Creo que el botón no lo podía tocar. Voy a volver a ver eso y ya si no... Uy, bueno, no podía tocar. Volví. Está todo exactamente igual. Pero no hay nada.
All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo. No matter how hard Stanley looked, he couldn't find a trace of his co-workers. Stanley went around touching every little thing in the office, but it didn't make a single difference, nor did it advance the story in any way.
Oh my, new content. La partida literalmente más larga.
Oh good, you notice my sign. Yes, I have something very exciting to show you.
Otra vez, esto decime que no. Estoy cansado ya de este juego. Un montón de tiempo estuvimos jugando y no me lo esperaba. Creo que es el mismo sensor. Voy a volver a entrar acá. No hace nada. No tengo otra opción. No hay otra opción.
You see, Stanley, I've been reflecting on the Stanley Parable and about how roundly disappointing this ultra-deluxe version has turned out to be. The original Stanley Parable was a landmark, and any new content for it should live up to that legacy. So forget this ultra-deluxe nonsense. I say we take it one step even further. Which is why I'm very proud to announce for the first time ever, the Stanley Parable 2.
Wow.
Yes,
wow.
You see, isn't this far superior to a measly re-release with a few minor additions? Think of all the new territory we'll cover with a fully fledged sequel. An entirely new experience, built from the ground up. Why, there are so many possibilities. It could go in so many different directions. This is what fans have truly been asking for.
Estoy más perdido que...
Calling it the Stanley Parable 2 is just so much catchier than Ultra Deluxe, don't you think? Ultra Deluxe? What does it even mean? But the Stanley Parable 2, now that's an artistic statement right there. It's future-oriented. It screams progress and innovation and long-term franchising potential. Now, to be clear, I haven't quite nailed down what exactly the Stanley Parable 2 is going to be, but let's take a look at some of the features I've been developing for it. I figure that if I can loosely organize a handful of interesting concepts, that surely the game will sort of naturally spring up around them. It'll all work itself out. Game development is much more of a fuzzy magic than anything scientific or logical, really. Here we are. Go on, try out some of the new features.
No puede ser. Vamos a ver. Todo es... A ver. Decoraciones de la oficina, balde de tranquilizador de Stanley. El botón que dice el nombre de la persona que está jugando. Me interesa el botón que dice el nombre de la persona que está jugando. Nunca me habían preguntado mi nombre. Oh, es muy grande todo esto. ¿Y puedo ir por allá? Epílogo. Hay un montón de cosas. Me voy a quemar la cabeza. ¿Cómo carajo? ¿Alguien o alguien?
For the Stanley Parable 2, I asked myself, what do players really want? And of course, the first and most obvious answer is that they want to be individually recognized and validated as people. So with that in mind, my first addition to the game is this button which speaks the name of the person playing the game. Isn't that wonderful?
No, no aparece. Dice nada. Ah, está ahí.
Jim. Sorry, I should have clarified. Right now, the button only says the name Jim. But of course, in the final game, this button will say your name, whatever name that is. Here, let's have you role play as Jim to really simulate the full experience of this feature.
Wow.
Just play along. I promise you'll love it. Okay, here we go. Let's take a deep breath, clear your mind, forget whoever you are and simply become a person named Jim.
Hola,
I
hola,
want
soy
you to
Jim.
imagine yourself living as Jim, sleeping and waking as Jim. Whoa, hold on. I wasn't finished setting up the backstory. If you don't properly roleplay as Jim, then you'll never understand the impact of this button. Otherwise, it's just a stupid button that says somebody else's name. Okay, we're doing it again, and this time let me finish first. Now, allow yourself to become Jim.
Como Jim.
Imagine yourself driving to work as Jim, playing frisbee on the weekends as Jim, staying up all night for a popcorn and horror movie sleepover as Jim, developing a crippling substance addiction as Jim, rediscovering yourself through fringe religious groups as Jim, and finally dying a slow death at an old age, surrounded by members of your cult as Jim. Do you feel it in your soul? Are you really, truly Jim right now? If so, then please step forward and press the button.
Okay.
Jim.
Yes! You see? What a thrill! What a rush! That was you! The button described you. Do it again, do it again.
Okay. Uy, están hablando en mi casa.
It hits even harder the second time. If this were the only new feature in the Stanley Parable 2, it would still be worth the money. Let's take a break from the Jim button. I'm too emotionally drained from all of this personal validation. Whoa there, cowboy. Sometimes a person can be too much Jim.
No.
I'm putting the Jim button away.
No.
Otherwise, soon you'll start to lose all sense of who you actually are.
Jim.